So I haven't done a sit-down garage video in quite a while, so I figured it would be the best way to do this video. And the last video I said that I was going to mention about the tires and how I ended up swapping tires, sending some back, new ones, that whole process. Kind of forgot to mention it in the last video. So I'm going to explain all of that for this one, give like a small update on the channel. It's not really an update. I didn't really know what to call it, but I guess just as a brief description for it, the videos that I planned on doing that are not going to happen. Stuff that I kind of mentioned, but it's not going to happen now because of various things that have happened. But I'll explain that towards the end of the video. But for now, I'm going to explain the whole tire situation, the tires I bought, why these ones got trashed, as you can see from the thumbnail that I probably put up, and I'll throw up some other pictures of how tore up they were, and explain the whole tire situation, what I have now, and we'll get all that sorted out. So a few weeks back, when I thought I was going to get the Cobra back earlier than what I did, there was some, I explained in the last video, there was some delays, things that happened. One other thing that I didn't mention, the clutch cable was supposed to be delivered on a Wednesday. It was out for delivery. They never dropped it off. They said it was something with the address. I ended up having to drive an hour away to pick up the package to bring it to the shop on a Thursday, and a Thursday is the day that I picked the Cobra up and the day that video came out. So that was another delay that happened. It held things up by a whole other day. But anyway, I thought I was going to get the Cobra back earlier than I originally did, until all the other problems came up that I mentioned in the other video. At that time, I knew that I needed rear tires pretty bad on the car. The Toyo R888R's held up well traction-wise. I know I mentioned in other videos that they were kind of, I was having issues with the power that the car makes now, but in all reality it really wasn't that bad. It's something I definitely could have lived with, but also knew that there was another level of traction that was still there that I wanted to get. So fast forward to when I thought I was getting the Cobra back, the tires that were on there were really tore up, and I'll show you guys the suspension that came out of this in just a minute. That's the whole reason why the tires got tore up. The car was very low. It's not too much higher now than what it was before. I'll do like a fender tire gap close up when I take the camera off the tripod to show you what it's like now. So up a little bit more, but I'm bringing it back to the shop. We're going to put a different isolator in to bring the back up just a tad bit more. But the main reason was that suspension wasn't meant to handle bumps and everything like that, like we have up here where I live. It came from Florida and it was raced on the track, so it was used to very flat pavement. It didn't have to deal with bumps and dips in the road and things like that. So when the car came up here and I started driving it, the tire had to do a quick battery change. I hate it when the camera does when you're in the middle of recording stuff. It throws off your whole train of thought. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So of course, with the car being up here in the Northeast, it really changed the driving characteristics of what that suspension, was used to, where it was more flat ground like Florida. So the problem I had with the car up here wasn't necessarily the bumps that you think of, like a bump in the road. It was the dips that really got, the damage done on the tires, where the car would drop and then the suspension would get compressed back up when it came up out of that little dip. There were some roads where I hit conditions like that often, and it was bumps too, but the ones that really did it were the dips. So it really chewed those tires up. And I'll throw in a video clip real quick right here, where this is when I was at VIP getting the Toyos taken off and the new tires put on. So you can see from that video that both the tires were tore up pretty bad, and one of them was really gouged. I mean, it was cut into the sidewall, so that was just not safe to drive on that tire. The tread-wise, it was probably still good. I mean, I didn't beat them up that bad, even though they were holding a lot of power, but they were just not safe to drive long distances with, and I do plan on taking some longer trips with the car this summer. So back to more current day stuff. Brings us to when I went to buy tires, when I thought the car was going to be done. As probably any of you know that have been looking to buy tires anytime recently, they're really, really hard to get right now. Everything is back ordered. I wanted to buy a more sticky tire, a little bit more sticky than the R888R's, so of course the next step up from that is a drag radial. You could not find drag radials anywhere. I looked on every site, everything was back ordered. You were able to order them, but then they wouldn't ship. You would get a notification that they're on back ordered, even though it didn't say so on some of the sites. One of the places that I talked to, they said that Toyo was backed up so far. They had no projection for when you could get a 305 size tire in. And I can put anything from a 295 to a 315 on the wheels that I have on this. I would have taken anything in those sizes, but I just could not get anything. So because of that, I decided to make a compromise. And I'll throw a picture of the tires in real quick that I did end up buying. But these are the ones that I sent back. These are the Falcon 615K Plus. They're a next level down from a Toyo R888R as far as the traction rating that it has and everything else. This is an ultra high performance summer tire. This is the tire that I originally bought, and I got thinking about it more and more if it was really going to be suitable for the power level that this car now is at. If I really want to do some spirited driving in Mexico, if it was going to be sufficient or not for it. And ironically enough, the day that those tires got delivered, and by the way, those shipped from Connecticut. I bought them on Tire Rack. They came the next day. So Tire Rack is a really good place to buy from. If you're on the East Coast, you'll get your tires really quick. First time I ever bought tires and got them, the next day. And then I had those for a couple of weeks, and the Cobra delays started happening. And the same day that they were delivered, Mickey Thompson Street SS tires came into stock on American Muscle, and I'm like, well, this sucks. I don't want to have to deal with trying to sell these or something like that, or buying another set of tires and spending another $700-800 on tires when I just had a brand new set. So I'm like, you know what, these tires will be fine. I'll make do. And a couple weeks went by, and I realized that it probably was not going to work out with those tires. And more that I read from comments and videos that I watched of them, I just didn't think the Falcons were going to hold the power that I wanted, and I don't want traction situations with this car. So I called Tire Rack, and they asked if the tires have been mounted, and I said nope, they're still in the straps. And they said, well, we do returns for things like that. So I'm like, well, that's great. So it did cost money to send them back. They took it off the refund amount, but I sent those back. I ordered a set of Mickey Thompson Street SS tires, and I'll throw a picture of those up here. That was these are the same ones that were in the video. The last one that I did. I ordered those, and those came a few days later. I picked the Cobra up at the shop not long after that, and then a few days after that I was able to bring it to VIP and get all of everything swapped out. So now the Cobra has a Mickey Thompson Street SS tires on it, which are a very sticky tire and will definitely hold the power this car has for street driving. So here's my current fender gap on the rear tires. I can just about, it's like a 2-finger width. Before, it's probably, I would say, maybe a ½ inch higher than what it was with the old coilover suspension on it. So it's not raised up a whole lot, but there's definitely a little bit more clearance. And the suspension is much more street friendly, so when I do hit a dip or a bump in the road, it's not driving this up into the fender like it was before. And as you can see, these tires are in great shape. And I've hit some bumps with these. It was kind of for science. I had to see if it was really going to rub or not, and so far they don't. But like I said before, it is going back to the shop. We are putting a different isolator in. The ones that I showed before with the suspension and everything else that was going in the car, and the isolators that were included with those, it raised this way too high. Aaron at the shop said it looked really stupid compared to where the front is at now. So what I'm going to do is he ordered a different isolator, and we're going to throw that in when I go down for the final clutch adjustment once it's fully broken in, and it will get the ride height where I want it. So I don't run into any problems of potentially, damaging, these tires, because, those Mickey Thompson Street SS tires are very expensive. And you can see the new suspension up here. So the coilovers are gone. That's the new Coney suspension that's in there. And I have to do a review on that. And I'm going to do a review on what I think of the RTX clutch once it's fully broken in, and once I get some harder driving with it. It's got a lot of great reviews, but I want to give my impressions on it as well. Everything's a mess over in this part of the garage, so excuse any crap that you see laying around. This is the old coilover suspension that came out of it. This is the Maximum Motorsports Race 3 coilovers that was on the car when I first bought it. So that, thankfully, it's now not in the car anymore. That's what gave me all the troubles with how harsh the car was riding and chewing up, a good set of Toyo R888R's that were on the car. I have the old clutch here. Take a peek at it real quick. I mean, it's not too terribly beat up. I think it held up to 700 horsepower pretty well. I mean, 700 at the wheels. It's not too terribly shot. Still, plenty of life left in that, but a stock Cobra clutch will not hold that kind of power forever, so it did need to get changed out. As far as the channel update stuff that I wanted to mention at the beginning of the video, I'll throw up some pictures of the car. This was a car that I was going to go and do a video on. It was an extremely low mileage, I believe it was mineral gray. I'll have to go back and look. If I'm wrong on that, I'll throw up some text in the video. A low mileage mineral gray Cobra convertible, still in wrapper. I can't remember the mileage. I'll throw the mileage up in the video. I have to go back and read through the messages. This individual reached out to me through social media and asked if I wanted to do a video on this car. He lived out in New York, so it wasn't too far of a drive for me to go and do this. This all happened like last fall going into winter. I wasn't going to ask him to bring the car out of storage in the middle of winter time to do a video, so that was a little something we needed to work on as far as the timing. So we pretty much agreed on, once spring, summer rolls around, we'll do the video. In the meantime, that car got sold. Not sure what it got sold for. I haven't directly talked to him in Messenger since it was sold. I don't know if he kind of feels bad that he sold it before doing a video, but it's not like me doing a video was the most imperative thing on this car. It's his car. He's able to sell it and do whatever he wants to do with it. So I wasn't mad or anything. I was just a little bit disappointed that I couldn't do a video on such a low mileage wrapper Cobra. That would have been a really cool video, but I'm not sure where the car went, what it sold for, anything like that. But I do know that he doesn't have it anymore, and I've interacted with him a little bit through Facebook, through comments and stuff, but the topic of the Cobra hasn't come up again. I kind of hate to throw down a tease for another vehicle that I'm potentially doing a video on, but the chances of this one are much better than that Cobra because it's more local to me. So at the very end of the video, before the outro, I'll throw in a quick clip of this vehicle. A lot of you will know what it is. I still have to talk to the individual about doing the video on it, but I was offered to drive it and do a video on it. So I'm going to hold them to that. Hopefully that happens soon. I'll find out within the next couple of weeks. As far as some more videos, I have a huge Mustang cruise video coming up at the very beginning of June, within the first week. It's a big cruise that's done here in Maine. It goes down along the coastline. There's a car show at the end, so I'll probably split that up into 2 different videos. I'm just going to get like a lot of cruising videos, a lot of footage of other Mustangs, so that's going to be really fun. I missed that show last year, so this year, I'm excited to go and do that. So that will conclude this video. I just wanted to catch you guys up on everything, on what was going on with the suspension and stuff, and why I ended up swapping tires around, and it was kind of a convoluted thing, so that's why I didn't really get into it in the last video. It was much easier to explain it this way. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave it a like. Thanks for watching.